Go with that. Go with the knowledge that your life is in the hands of someone who does not fail. Go with the knowledge that you are loved completely. Go with the knowledge that you are not alone in this moment or in any moment ahead. Go with the knowledge that the silence in your house is full of presence. Go with the knowledge that your prayers have all been heard and many are still being answered. Go with the knowledge that your ordinary faithful life is seen as glorious by the one who matters most. Go with the knowledge that you are exactly where you are supposed to be, in exactly this season, at exactly this time, and that there is purpose in it and love in it and His hand in it and something good being worked out through it that you may not yet fully see but that is real and is continuing and is headed somewhere worth going. Go gently. Go in peace. Go held. And know, as you go, that the love that found you today through these words will not leave when the words end. It will go with you. It will be in the room you walk into next. It will be in the evening that comes, and in the night that follows, and in the morning that rises after that. It will be in every breath. In every small moment. In every quiet turning of an ordinary day. It will be with you always. As He promised. Always. Even to the very end of the age. And then beyond the end of the age into something that has no end. He is with you. Now. Always. In every place you will ever be. You are loved. You are loved. You are loved. Go well, dear one. Go well. He said He is preparing a place. He said there are many rooms. He said where He is going He will come back and take you to be with Him so that you may be where He is. That is a promise. Made personally. With an intention and a love behind it that is the same intention and love that has accompanied you every day of your life. He is not speaking in vague metaphors. He is saying something specific. He is coming back. And when He comes, every person who has ever reached toward Him, every person who has ever said yes to the love being offered, every person whose name is known to Him, every single one of them will be gathered in. Not one will be lost. Not one will be missed. Not one will be forgotten at the gate. Your name is known. Your name is remembered. Your place is prepared. It is not going to be filled by someone else. It will not disappear if you take too long. It is held for you. With a certainty and a permanence that nothing in this world can touch. It is held for you by the same love that has held you through everything this life has brought. It is held for you and it is certain and it is beautiful beyond anything we can imagine and it is waiting and when the time comes you will go home to it and you will know, the moment you arrive, that you were made for exactly this, that every beautiful thing you ever experienced in this life was a small and imperfect foretaste of what is here, that every love you ever loved was a dim reflection of the love you are now standing inside of, that every morning you ever woke to was a pale hint of this morning that does not end. That is what is waiting for you. That is where the road leads. Not into darkness. Not into silence. Not into nothing. Into morning. Into the face of the one who made you and loved you and kept you and is even now preparing the place where you will finally, fully, permanently, joyfully be home. The presence is real and it changes the nature of the alone. It makes the alone a together alone. A kept alone. A known alone. Not abandonment but accompaniment in a way that is hard to see and hard to feel but that is real with a reality that underlies the reality of everything else. You are accompanied in your aloneness. That is the promise. Not that the aloneness will be removed, though sometimes it will. Sometimes the provision of human connection will come in beautiful and unexpected ways. But that even in the aloneness you are not alone. Even in the quiet you are not uncompanioned. Even in the long evenings and the long nights and the long days that stretch without the particular warm relief of another human presence, you are not without presence. The presence of the one who made you is always there. Always attending. Always warm. Always available to you when you turn toward it. Turn toward it tonight. Whenever the quiet becomes heavy, turn toward it. Not as a performance, not as a formal prayer, just as a turning. Just a looking. Just a reaching in the way you reach when you are in a dark room, and you reach for the light switch knowing it is there, knowing the light will come. Reach. And let the light come. And let the presence be real. And let the night, even the hard night, even the lonely night, be inside something larger and warmer than the night itself. Let the love hold the night around you. Let yourself be held in it. You are held. You are held. You are held. And I want to say one more thing. One final thing, before we come to the very last of these words. I want to say it carefully because it is the most important thing I have said, and I want it to land in the place where it can do the most good. Jesus is coming back. I say that not as a theological statement for debate. I say it as a promise. A promise made by the one who has kept every promise he has ever made, who has not failed in a single word of everything he said he would do. Not when you have sorted yourself out and become the version of yourself you think would be more deserving of belonging. Now, as you are, here, you are home. I want to speak to you one more time about Jesus as a companion. Because companionship is what the soul needs. It is what you were made for. The God who made you for closeness, for being known, for not walking alone. And when the human sources of companionship are fewer, when the house is quieter and the social world is smaller and the rhythms of connection that the younger years provided have thinned out, the need does not thin out. The need for companionship remains as real as ever. Sometimes more real. Sometimes more acute. Sometimes felt more sharply precisely because it is less easily met. Jesus knows this. He walked a lonely road in many ways. He was surrounded by people and yet often profoundly alone in the sense that mattered, in the sense of being fully understood. The people he was closest to misunderstood him regularly, sometimes fundamentally. He carried the weight of knowing things that could not be shared, of seeing things that could not be explained, of being inside a story so large and so significant that none of the people around him could fully grasp what they were in the middle of. He knew the particular loneliness of the one who knows too much to be fully met by the people around them. He knows your loneliness. He knows it from the inside. Not from an analysis of it. From having been in it. And because he has been in it, he is able to enter yours in a way that is not performative or distant. He enters the loneliness with you, and in entering it he changes it. Not by removing it necessarily, not always, but by being present inside it. And a loneliness that has someone in it is different from a loneliness that is empty. Even when you cannot feel the presence, even when it is something you hold by faith rather than by feeling. The same beginning again that is made possible not by anything you do but by everything he has already done. He has already done everything necessary for your receiving. The work of mercy is completed. There is nothing left to earn or to achieve or to deserve. There is only the receiving. Only the opening of the hands that have been clenched around what needs to be given. Only the turning toward what is already turned toward you. Only the yes to what has been waiting as long as you have needed it and will wait as long as you need it to wait. There is no expiration on this mercy. It does not go stale. It does not expire at midnight. It is available to you right now, in this moment, and it will be available to you in every moment that follows, for as long as you are you and He is He, which is forever. You are not too much for this mercy. You are not too late for this mercy. You are not too complicated or too far gone or too deeply convinced of your own unworthiness for this mercy. That is not a category that exists. There is no version of a human life that falls outside the reach of what God offers. There is no depth too deep for this love to find you. There is no darkness too dark for this light to enter. There is no story so tangled that this grace cannot work its way through it and bring something new and good and redeemed into the light. You are received. You are forgiven. You are welcomed. You are free to begin again. Not because you have done anything to deserve it. Because He is who He is, and He has always been reaching toward you, and the reaching has never stopped, and the door has never closed, and the welcome has never been retracted, and the love has never run out. You are home. Right now. In the middle of your living room or your kitchen or wherever you are sitting or standing or lying down and receiving these words. You are home. Not in some future day, not after some additional qualifying. Let me speak to you now about the mercy of God. Because I want to make sure that in everything we have said today, the mercy has been clear. The mercy that is not just a theological category, but a lived reality, the actual experience of being forgiven and restored and given back to yourself after you have made the mistakes that all humans make. The mercy that does not keep records. The mercy that when you come, genuinely come, with a genuinely sorry heart, genuinely opens and genuinely receives and genuinely puts away the record of the thing you came about and genuinely gives back the clean slate. That mercy is real. It is as real as the air. It is as available as the next breath. It does not run out. It is not exhausted by repeated returning. No matter how many times you have come before, no matter how many times you will have come about the same things or different things, the mercy that receives you each time is as full and as fresh as it was the first time. There is no depletion of mercy. There is no moment when the supply is low and the reception is less warm because you have used too much. The mercy is infinite in the truest sense of that word, meaning it has no boundary, meaning it is the same at the millionth coming as at the first, meaning it does not diminish with use. Come. Come with whatever you are carrying that feels like it stands between you and being received. Come with the thing you haven't been able to bring before. Come with the failure you have been too ashamed to look at directly. Come with the belief about yourself that says maybe for everyone else, but not quite for me. Come with the specific weight of the specific thing. Bring it exactly as it is, in all its heaviness and its complexity, and receive what is waiting for you on the other side of the bringing. Which is exactly what has always been waiting. The same arms. The same welcome. The same love. He is in the strange mixture of gratitude and grief that the holidays carry for anyone who has lived long enough to have lost people and seasons and the particular version of things that can never come back. He is in all of it. He is the one who understands the sacredness of memory and the sacredness of grief and the way they live side by side in the human heart at the holidays, and he holds both of them, and he holds you in both of them, and he is not asking you to feel only one thing. Feel what you feel. Let it all be real. Let the grief be grief, and the gratitude be gratitude, and the love be love, and the missing be missing. You don't have to resolve it into something clean. Life is not clean. The holidays are not clean. They are full and complicated, and layered with everything a long life puts into them. And in that fullness, in that complication, in all those layers, he is present. He is the God of all of it, not just the beautiful parts. He is the God who holds the full weight of a human life with all its seasons and all its losses and all its loves and all its continuing. He holds all of it. He holds all of you. And at the holidays, when the weight is heaviest, when the beauty is mixed most thoroughly with grief, when the house is full of the presence of the absent in a way that is the hardest to hold, remember that he is at that table too. He is in that room. He is present to every silent toast, and every spoken memory, and every moment when someone laughs and someone else's eyes fill, and both things are true at once. He is in all of it. And he is not uncomfortable with any of it. He is the God of the full human experience, and the full human experience is what he came to redeem, not to sanitize, but to redeem. To make whole. To hold in love until the wholeness comes fully. Keep being the person who believes. Because what that means for the people in your life is more than you know. I want to speak now about the holidays and the seasons of the year. About how they feel in this chapter. Because the holidays carry so much, they always have, but they carry something particular in the later years. They carry the weight of all the previous years, all the accumulated holidays, the ones that were full and the ones that were hard, the ones with small children running and the ones that were quiet with just a few people, the ones where everything felt right and the ones where the missing was so present that the celebration felt thin. The holidays carry the dead. They carry the absent. They carry the changed. They carry memory in a way that is sometimes beautiful and sometimes aching and often both at the same time. Christmas comes, and you put out the decorations, the ones you had for decades, each one a story, each one a person or a moment, and the putting out of them is an act of love and an act of grief all at once, honoring what was and acknowledging what is different now. Easter comes with its particular light, its particular promise, and you sit in that promise and it is real and it has always been real, but it is also real that the person who used to sit beside you for Easter Sunday is not beside you now. Thanksgiving comes and the table may be fuller than you fear or it may be quieter than you wish, but either way the season brings with it a kind of reckoning, a kind of accounting, a kind of pause in the ordinary flow of days where you look at your life and feel all of it at once. I want to say something about those holy days and their weight. God is not absent from the heaviness of them. He is not only present in the joy of them. He is not only accessible in the parts that feel celebratory and full and right. He is in the heaviness too. He is in the particular ache of the empty chair. He is in the missing. A trust in things unseen, a sense that there is a love holding the world that is bigger than what the world can see. You may have a neighbor whose own life is complicated, and who finds something steadying in the fact that you are there, steady and faithful, continuing in your own quiet way. You may have a child who does not talk to you about faith, but who carries something from watching your faith all their life, something that will surface in them at exactly the right moment, in the way that seeds surface in the right season. You may be someone's grandmother whose faith shapes what they believe for the rest of their lives. You may be someone's friend whose peace in difficulty teaches them that peace is possible. You may be someone's example, unbeknownst to you, of what it looks like to grow old with grace and trust and love. You may be, without knowing it, the most significant spiritual influence in someone's life right now. The way you live, the way you speak, the way you hold your difficulty, the way you continue to turn toward God even when God is hard to feel. All of that is being seen. All of that is a message. All of that is the kind of witness that does more lasting work than any sermon. You are not finished being used by God. You are not finished mattering to the people around you in ways that are spiritually significant. The season of your greatest spiritual influence may not be behind you. It may be right now. It may be in the quiet faithful consistency of these years, in the way you live inside your own life with trust and love and an integrity that comes from a long relationship with the one who is truth. That is powerful. That is needed. That is given to the people who see you, whether they know they are receiving it or not. Keep going. Keep being who you are. Keep turning toward the light. Keep praying the quiet prayers. Keep showing up for your own faith even on the days when it feels like small habit rather than great feeling. That is the voice. That is what he is always saying. In the beauty of a morning. In the ache of a lonely evening. In the fear of the night. In the exhaustion of a hard year. In the grief of a loss. In the confusion of not knowing what comes next. In all of it, underneath all of it, steady as bedrock, warm as a fire, sure as the returning of spring, he is saying the same thing. You are mine. I am here. I love you. Come. Now I want to speak to you about the people in your life who have given you faith. Because very few people arrive at faith alone. Most of us were carried toward it by someone. A grandmother who prayed with a love that made God feel real. A mother who kept her Bible on the nightstand and whose faith was so genuine and so lived in that it was impossible to not believe in something watching her. A father who was not demonstrative but who went to church every Sunday without complaint and whose quiet faithfulness was a message even when no words were spoken. A friend who sat with you in a hard season and who had a peace you couldn't explain and who pointed you, not with a tract or an argument but just with the quality of their being, toward something beyond the circumstance. These people are part of your story. They are part of how you came to be the person watching this video today, the person with faith, however trembling, however uncertain, however tested by life. They are part of the chain. And the faith they gave you, the way their lives demonstrated that there is something to turn toward, that mattered. It still matters. It matters right now. You are here, in part, because of them. You believe, in part, because of them. And I want you to think about whether you might be that person for someone. You may already be that person for someone and not know it. You may have a grandchild who watches you more carefully than you realize, who sees in you something that they are not yet able to name but that is forming something in them. That is what sustains a soul through everything. That is what holds people together when everything external would suggest falling apart. The knowing. And the knowing comes through the stillness. Through the willingness to be quiet long enough for the deeper truth to surface, through all the noise of daily worry and daily thought and daily distraction. Try it today. After this video ends, before you turn on the next thing, before you pick up the phone or turn on the news or start the next task, try it. Sit still for 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. Put everything down. Let the room be quiet. And in that quiet, just be. Don't perform anything. Don't produce anything. Don't pray any particular prayers if prayer doesn't come. Just be still. And see what comes. See what rises up from the quiet. It might be peace. It might be tears. It might be a face, the face of someone you love or someone you miss. It might be a memory that wants your attention. It might be just quiet, just the ordinary holy quiet of a person being still in the presence of God. Whatever it is, receive it. Let it be what it is. Let it be given. Because God speaks in that stillness. He speaks softly, in the register below noise, in the frequency that is only audible when the louder things are quieted. He has been speaking to you always in that register, saying things that the noise of life has sometimes covered. In the stillness you will begin to hear what He has been saying. And what He has been saying, always, in every register, in every moment, through every season, is the same thing. The same words. The same love. The same unshakable commitment to you. You are mine. I am here. You are loved. I am not leaving. You are held. This is not the end. I am with you. I am for you. Come. Specifically. For you, by name, in the specific details of your specific life, with all its particular beauty and difficulty and history and hope. You were meant to hear this today. And now you have heard it. And nothing about you is the same, even if nothing feels different yet. Something has been planted. Something has been watered. Something has been reminded that it is true. And it will grow. It will work its way through the soil of your life and come up in ways you will recognize, in unexpected moments of peace, in the sudden warmth of feeling accompanied, in the quiet certainty, in the morning, that the day is held and so are you. Go with that. Go with love. Go with peace. Go knowing that you are held. Go knowing that you are His. Go knowing that you are not alone. Go knowing that the last word, the final word, the word that was spoken before the world began and that will be spoken after all things find their completion, that word is love. And it has your name in it. It has always had your name in it. It always will. And I want to stay with you just a little while longer. Because there is more, there is always more, and you deserve more. You deserve the full measure of what this time was meant to give you. So let me continue. Let me keep walking with you. I want to talk to you about something that might seem small but that I believe is actually one of the most significant practices you can give yourself in these years. I want to talk to you about the practice of being still. Not the stillness that comes from having nothing to do, not the stillness of boredom or emptiness, but the intentional, chosen, courageous stillness that says I am going to stop, right now, and be here, fully here, and let whatever is true find me. The Psalms say be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. The knowing comes after the stillness. The stillness is the doorway to the knowing. And that knowing, that deep bone knowing that God is real and present and for you. You are loved. You are seen. You are known. You are not alone, not now, not tonight, not tomorrow, not in any of the days ahead, not in any of the nights ahead, not in any of the hard things that are still to come or the beautiful things that are still to come or the ordinary faithful days that stretch between now and home. Not in any of it. In all of it, in every last bit of it, He is there. He has always been there. He will always be there. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. And even after this video ends, after you close the screen and go about your evening or your morning or your night, even after the sound of these words fades from your ears, the love that sent these words to you is still there. Still present. Still holding. Still watching over the house you are in, over the chair you are sitting in, over the ordinary beautiful miracle of your continuing life. Still speaking to you in the quiet ways He speaks, in the bird song and the morning light and the good memory that rises without being called and the unexpected peace that comes in the middle of a hard day without any explanation. Still giving you everything you need. Still for you. Still with you. Still yours. And you are still His. Go gently now. Go into the rest of your day with the knowledge of being loved. Let the quiet of your house be a different kind of quiet than it sometimes is. Let it be the quiet of a place where someone is present, a presence you cannot see but that is real, real as the walls around you, real as the breath in your lungs, real as the love that kept you through every hard thing you have ever been through and that will keep you through everything still to come. Let the ordinary evening be lit from the inside by something you received today, something true and good and needed, something that was sent specifically for you because you were meant to receive it. Because you were. This message was meant for you. Not generally. Not approximately. Not in this life and not in the passing from this life and not in whatever comes after. Those hands are the hands of someone who has been committed to your well-being and your belonging and your ultimate joy from before you were born and who will be committed to it long after every other commitment in the universe has faded. Those hands hold everything and they hold you as if you were the most important thing in them. Because to Him you are. I want to leave you with a picture. I want to leave you with something you can carry into the quiet of your evening or your morning or your night, something you can close your eyes and rest in when the world feels heavy or the house feels too quiet or the fear tries to find you in the dark. I want to give you an image to take with you. Imagine yourself sitting somewhere that is peaceful. Somewhere that feels safe and warm and full of a kind of light that is soft and not harsh. A place where the air itself feels like something good. And in this place, beside you, sitting close enough that if you reached out your hand you could feel the warmth of presence, is Jesus. Not a frightening figure. Not a judge. Not someone you have to perform for or explain yourself to or be anything other than exactly what you are. Just someone who is with you. Someone who knows you completely and is with you completely and whose being there is the most natural and the most right thing in all the world, as if He was always meant to be exactly there, exactly beside you, in exactly that kind of quiet companionship that does not need words. And He is not saying anything, or if He is saying something it is only this. I see you. I know you. I have always known you. And I love you. I love you. I love you. And I am not going anywhere. Carry that with you. You know whom you have believed. And he knows you. Now let me begin to bring you gently toward a close. Not because there is nothing more to say. There is always more to say, infinitely more. The love of God is inexhaustible, and the things that flow from it could fill every book ever written and never be fully captured. But because every conversation has a landing place, and I want to bring this one to its landing place gently and with care, the way you bring someone you love to the door of their own home, slowly, not rushing, letting the walk have its last few steps be unhurried and quiet and full. I want to say this to you. I want to say it as simply and directly as I know how to say it, without decoration or amplification, just clearly. God loves you. He loves you right now. He loves you exactly as you are. He loves the part of you that is confident and the part that is afraid. He loves the part that is faithful and the part that still sometimes wonders. He loves the part that is strong and the part that is worn. He loves your history, all of it, the parts you are proud of and the parts you are not. He loves the person you are when no one is watching. He loves the prayers you pray in the dark. He loves the getting up in the morning even when the morning is hard. He loves the long faithful ordinary days of your life. He loves you with a love that is not dependent on your goodness or your performance or your feelings about yourself or anything else that changes. He loves you with a love that is fixed. That is permanent. That is the same yesterday and today and forever. That is not going to change or decrease or run out or go away. You are loved. You are not forgotten. You are not at the end of your importance. You are not invisible. You are not facing anything alone. You are held in the hands of the one who made everything, and those hands are not tired and they are not going anywhere and they will not let you fall. And there is the wealth of having a relationship with God that has been tested. That is not the smooth new relationship of early faith, where everything is fresh and the emotion is strong and the excitement carries a lot of the weight. That is the relationship that has been through winters. That has survived the years when God felt distant. That has survived grief and doubt and disappointment and the long middle years when faith was more habit and choice than feeling. That kind of relationship has a depth and a solidity to it that the early years do not have. You trust Him in a different way now. A harder-won way. A way that has been through enough to know that He is trustworthy, not because everything worked out perfectly but because He was there in the worst of it. That kind of trust is one of the most beautiful things in the universe. Your faith is not old. Your faith is deep. Those are different things. Old suggests worn out of date, past its relevance. Deep suggests something that has been growing downward all these years, sending roots into places that shallow water cannot reach, finding the underground sources that sustain even in drought. Your faith is deep. And deep faith holds when surface faith would be washed away. Deep faith is what you need for where you are and where you are going. Deep faith is what is required for the final chapters of a human life, for walking with grace and trust and peace toward the horizon, for being able to say with real meaning and not just with words, I know whom I have believed, and I am persuaded that He is able to keep what I have committed to Him. Let that be enough. Let that be more than enough. Let that be the thing that fills the place that human visibility sometimes fails to fill. He sees you. He knows you. He loves you. And that knowing and that loving is the foundation of everything else. Nothing can change it. Nothing can take it away. Not age, not illness, not loneliness, not the natural distance that grows between generations, not the turning of the world away from what you represent. None of it touches the fundamental reality that you are known and loved by the God who made everything. You are His. I want to walk with you now toward the end of this long conversation. But before I do, I want to say some more things that I think need to be said. Things about the beauty of where you are. Because I want to make sure you leave here not just comforted, but also somehow enlarged, somehow more aware of the actual richness of your life and your season. These years, the later years, the quieter years, carry a particular kind of wealth. Not the wealth of youth, which is the wealth of possibility, of everything still open, of the future as a vast unmarked country with infinite directions available. No. The wealth of these years is different. It is the wealth of having arrived at somewhere real. Of having a past that is full. Of having loved people. Of having built things, even if the things were not buildings but families, relationships, memories, the slow accumulation of a character that was shaped by everything you walked through. The wealth of knowing, finally, what actually matters. Because so much of life is spent learning what matters, learning it slowly and sometimes painfully, and these years are the years when that knowing is finally settled. You know what matters. You know what is real. You know what has lasting value and what was always just noise. That knowing is a treasure. It is hard-won and it is real and it is yours. You carry something that the young do not yet have. You are not the diminished version of what you once were. You are the fullest version of what you have always been becoming. You are the thing that the young years were building toward. All of those years of struggle and growth and learning and loving and failing and rising again, all of those years were building this, the person you are now, in your particular chair, in your particular season, with your particular knowing. That person is not less than the young person in the photographs. That person is more. That person has depths the young person didn't have yet. That person has been through things that gave them something that cannot be received any other way. You are valuable. Not for what you can still produce. Not for what you can still accomplish. Not for any function you can still perform. Valuable simply for what you are. Because you are made in the image of the God who does not measure value the way the world measures it. He looks at you and he sees his child. He sees someone he made. He sees someone he loves. He sees someone whose story he has been in from the beginning and whose story he intends to be in all the way to the very last word and beyond. He sees you. And what he sees is loved. The world may sometimes not see you. The culture may sometimes move around you as if you are not quite in its field of vision. The young and the fast and the productive may sometimes move through spaces that don't seem to include you. But the one who made you sees you always. You are always in his field of vision. You are always at the center of his attention. You are always fully visible to the love that is the most real thing in the universe. You are seen. Always and completely and lovingly seen. Hold on. Whatever you are in right now, hold on. Not with clenched teeth and grim determination, but with the open-handed trust of someone who knows that the hand that is holding them is stronger than anything that is threatening them. Hold on in the way that a child holds a parent's hand, not fighting to hold on but simply trusting that the hand is there and is strong and knows the way. Hold on that way. And keep walking. One day at a time. One morning at a time. Sometimes 1 hour at a time. As small as you need to make the steps, make them that small. But keep walking. He will walk with you. He will walk with you. I want to speak now about the way God loves old people. I want to speak about it specifically, because I think it is something that is not said enough and is needed. Because there are messages in our culture that push in a different direction, messages that celebrate youth and productivity and energy and forward motion, messages that can make the later years feel like they are outside the story somehow, like they are the aftermath rather than the continuing. The God of Scripture does not share those values. The God of Scripture honors the aged. He honors the wisdom that comes from long years. He honors the faithfulness that has been proven over time. He honors the deep knowing that cannot be learned quickly, that can only be acquired through the accumulation of lived experience, through the specific kind of seeing that comes after you have walked long enough to understand what the walking is really about. The gray hair, the scriptures say, is a crown of glory. That is not a consolation. That is not a diplomatic gesture toward people who are uncomfortable with aging. That is a statement about value. About how God sees the long years of a life lived in faithfulness. He sees them as honor. He sees the aged as crown bearers, as ones who have arrived at something, as ones who carry something that the young do not yet have. Whatever your specific thing is, I want to speak to it directly. I want to say that Jesus sees your specific thing. Not the general category of it but the specific particulars of your situation, the exact texture of your difficulty, the way it presents itself in the mornings and in the evenings and in the middle of nights when you are most honest about it. He knows. He is not responding to a category. He is responding to you. Your situation. Your pain. Your need. And He is not absent from it. He is not standing at a distance from it. He is in it with you. In the middle of the illness or the grief or the worry or the loneliness or whatever the thing is that you are living with right now. He is right in the middle of it, as close as your next breath, as present as the air around you, and He is working. Even when the working is invisible. Even when it seems like nothing is changing. Even when you have prayed, and the situation has not resolved in any visible way. He is at work in it. Not always in the ways we ask. But always in the ways that serve the deepest good, the good that goes beyond the immediate resolution of the problem and reaches into something more fundamental about who you are and what your life is becoming and what is being made in you through the difficulty. Not because He causes suffering. That is not the God of Jesus. The God of Jesus is the one who heals and comforts and restores and draws close to the broken. But because He is sovereign over suffering, because He is able to bring even the hardest things into the service of something redemptive, because He is the God who specializes in bringing life out of death, hope out of despair, beauty out of ashes. Your difficulty is not the end of the story. Your difficulty is inside a story that ends well. That ends in the most profound good that can be imagined. And that God who is writing that story is writing yours with the same love and the same intention and the same ultimately good end. He is giving to you all the time. Not in the dramatic and impossible to miss ways, though those happen too, but in the steady constant dailiness of a world that is full of beauty and full of small gifts for anyone who is paying attention. He never stops giving. Not in your best days and not in your worst. Not when you feel it and not when you don't. The giving is constant because the love is constant because you are His and He does not change. Let your heart be grateful for that. Not in a forced or performed way but in the real way, in the way that comes when you let the truth land, when you let yourself actually receive the fact that you are loved and given to and cared for by a God who does not tire of you, who has never tired of you, who will never tire of you. Let that be real. Let it sit in you. Let it shift something. Let it be the thing that changes the quality of the quiet in your house from loneliness to something else. Not quite the same as company, but something. Presence. Accompaniment. The knowledge that you are not alone in the room even when no one else is visible. I want to speak to some of you who may be experiencing something specific right now. Some of you may be dealing with illness, either your own or someone you love. Some of you may be in the middle of a grief that is still fresh and raw. Some of you may be in a financial worry that keeps you awake. Some of you may be in the middle of a family difficulty, something that involves misunderstanding or conflict or hurt that has not yet been resolved. Some of you may be in the middle of the particular loneliness of having moved to a new place or a new situation and not yet having found your footing. Some of you may be dealing with the specific grief of retirement, which is a real grief that doesn't always get acknowledged as grief but that is one, the loss of identity and purpose and community and rhythm that the end of a working life can bring. Now I want to take a moment to speak to you about gratitude. About the practice of it and the power of it and the way it changes things in the soul when it is real and not performed. Gratitude is not the same as pretending everything is fine. It is not about denying the hard things or minimizing the real difficulties. It is something different. It is the practice of allowing beauty to also be real alongside difficulty. It is the conscious act of making room for what is good to be noticed and named and received, even when what is hard is also present. And there is much that is good. I know there is. In your life, in your specific life with all its particular details, there is beauty. There is love. There is the small and daily variety of grace that fills an ordinary life if you look at it closely enough. The taste of something good. The sound of something beautiful. The sight of the world in a season you love. The particular light, the smell of it, the way it lands on you when you step outside. A phone call from someone you love that came at the right moment. A song that found you when you needed it. A memory that surfaced soft and clear and full of someone you loved. A morning that was just, in some quiet way, good. These things are not accidents. They are given. Every good thing is given. Every moment of beauty is a specific act of love from the one who holds all of it and who chooses, constantly, to fill the world with things that will give his children joy. The birds that come to your feeder. The sky that turns those colors in the evening. The seasons that return year after year with their particular gifts. The smell of rain on dry ground. The sound of wind in trees. All of it given. All of it personal. All of it His love expressed in the language of the created world. Still believing in something. That is not small. That is not incidental. That is the fruit of a life of faithfulness, visible right now in the simple magnificent fact that you are still here and still reaching and still, underneath everything, still belonging to Him. I want to tell you something else now. Something about the community of people who are, right at this moment, watching something like this. sitting in their own quiet houses, in their own particular chairs, in their own ordinary evenings, reaching toward the same thing you are reaching toward. Right now, as you are watching and listening, there are people across this country, in small towns and big cities, in houses and apartments and living situations of every kind, people who are in the same season of life that you are in, carrying similar things, asking similar questions, feeling similar feelings, and turning toward the same love that you are turning toward right now. You are not alone in any of this. Not in the struggle of it, and not in the faith of it, and not in the longing of it. There is a community of the quietly faithful that is vast and mostly invisible, people who are not on the news or in the spotlight or producing loud evidence of their importance, who are simply living their lives with dignity and faith and love, who are simply continuing, who are simply showing up for their own days and their own prayers and their own faithful ordinary lives. You are part of that community. You belong to it in a deep and real way. And they belong to you. The woman across town praying for her grandchildren. The man in another state sitting by his window with his coffee in the early morning. The couple in the south sitting on their porch in the evening. The widow in the Midwest talking to God in the dark. All of them reaching toward the same love. All of them held by the same hands. All of them part of the same great, quiet, faithful, beautiful story. You are not alone. And He is holding it with you. Right now. In the specific weight of your specific life, the exact combination of difficulty and grief and uncertainty and physical limitation and loneliness and fear that you are carrying today, He is in the yoke beside you. He is not watching you struggle from a comfortable distance. He is pulling with you. He has always been pulling with you. Even in the seasons when you felt like you were pulling alone, you were not pulling alone. The yoke was always shared. You just sometimes couldn't feel the weight being lifted because you were so focused on the weight that was still there. But the weight that is still there would have been so much worse without Him. And the weight that is not there, the weight that was lifted without your knowing, that is the evidence of His presence. The day that should have broken you and didn't. The year that should have ended your faith and somehow didn't. The moment of crisis from which you somehow came out the other side still standing, still breathing, still believing. Those are not coincidences. Those are not just your own resilience, though your resilience is real and is also a gift from Him. Those are the moments when the shared yoke was most clearly carrying more than you knew. Those are the moments of invisible grace, the grace that held you when you didn't know you needed holding, when you were so deep in the struggle that you couldn't see anything except the immediate difficulty, but the hand was there, steady and sure and not letting you fall. You have not fallen. You are still here. After everything. After all of it. After every hard season, and every loss, and every long night, and every year of wondering, and every prayer that seemed to go unanswered, and every time the road curved away from where you thought it was supposed to go. After all of that, you are still here. Still watching this. Still reaching. Still looking for the thing that this message is carrying. Still underneath everything. And then He said something that I want to focus on. He said, my burden is easy and my load is light. Easy and light. I want to sit with that because I know some of you have lived long years with faith, and those years have not always felt easy or light. There have been seasons of great difficulty, great burden, great weariness. There have been seasons when faith felt like another weight rather than a relief from weight. And so those words, easy and light, can feel confusing or even a little painful when the experience has been otherwise. But I think what he meant, and I want to offer this gently, is not that following him will make your life circumstantially easy. Not that he will remove all the hard things from your path. Not that the journey will be without difficulty. What he meant, I think, is that in comparison to the alternative, to carrying all of it alone, to being the final word on your own life, to navigating the universe without the companionship of the one who made it, the burden of following him is light. The yoke he offers is the yoke of partnership rather than the yoke of solitary effort. He is in the yoke with you. He is pulling with you. The weight of the journey is real, but it is shared, and shared weight is different from solitary weight. Shared weight has something solitary weight does not have. Shared weight has company in it, and love in it, and the knowledge that you are not the only source of strength, that there is another set of hands on the plow, another heartbeat beside yours, another strength that does not tire. That is the easy and light. Not no burden. Shared burden. Not no weight. Weight that is held with you. When the day stretches behind you, and there is nothing particularly urgent ahead, and in that space the thoughts come that are harder to think in the busier hours. The wondering thoughts. The missing thoughts. The what-if thoughts. The late life kind of counting up that the quiet evenings invite. I want to sit with you in those evenings. I want to sit beside you in the way that God sits beside you in them, not to fix them or to rush them toward morning but to be present in them. Because even the hard evenings have something in them. Even the lonely ones. Even the heavy ones. There is a kind of beauty that is only visible from the far side of a long life, a kind of depth that comes from having lived so much and survived so much and loved so much. There is a wisdom in the evening that cannot be found in the morning. A clarity that only comes from long experience. A peace that is not the same as the peace of youth, which is often just the peace of not yet knowing how hard things can be, but is instead the peace of having known, of having been through, of having survived. The peace of the scarred and the continuing. The peace of the faithful who are still faithful. That peace is yours. You have earned the right to it through everything you have walked through. And even when the evenings are hard, that peace is available to you. Not as something you have to manufacture or perform, but as something that is simply there, offered, a gift that has been set beside you like a glass of water for someone who is thirsty. You only have to reach for it. You only have to let it be given. Let me tell you about something that Jesus said that I want to spend a few minutes with, because I think it is one of the most important things he ever said, and I think it was said specifically for people in the season of life where you are now. He said, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and carrying heavy burdens, and I will give you rest." Come. That is the invitation. The meals you cooked that nobody remembered. The nights you sat up with someone who was sick. The time you bit your tongue when you could have spoken harshly. The money you gave when you didn't have a lot of it. The time you showed up when showing up was the last thing you wanted to do. The forgiving, the especially hard kind, the forgiveness of someone who didn't ask for it and might not deserve it in any human reckoning, the forgiveness you gave anyway because that is what love does, because love will not be turned into bitterness even when bitterness would be understandable. All of that love is held. All of it counts. All of it has weight and meaning and permanence in a way that transcends what any human eye can measure. You are a person who has loved. And that is one of the most magnificent things a person can be. I want to walk with you now into the evenings. The long American evenings of these years, the ones that start around 5 when the light begins to change, when the color of the sky gets softer and the day begins its slow transition toward night. I think of many of you in those hours, in the particular quality of that time, the in-between of evening, when the day is done and dinner is either happening or just finished, and the hours ahead until sleep are quiet and without particular schedule. For some of you those hours are comfortable. You have your routines, your shows, your books, your phone calls with friends or family, your habits that give the evening shape. And that is good. Routine is not small. Routine is actually one of the great gifts of a long life, the discovery that daily rhythms and familiar pleasures are not boring but grounding, not a lack of excitement but a kind of richness that younger people are still too restless to fully appreciate. For others of you, those hours can be harder. The evenings can be when the loneliness is loudest, when the house is very quiet, and the absence of someone who used to be there is most felt. For the part of you that is quiet and faithful and deeper than the noise of the world. And if this video has touched you, if it has moved you in some way, if it has helped or comforted or reminded you of something you needed to be reminded of, then pressing the like button is a way of saying I received this. I was here. This mattered to me. And it will help this message reach other people who are in the same quiet need. But I say that gently. I say it softly. I say it as one human heart to another, not as a transaction but as an invitation to belong to something. To not walk alone. To have a community, even a digital one, of people who are reaching for the same things, who are holding the same kind of faith, who are in the same beautiful and sometimes difficult and always worthy chapter of life. Come. Stay. You are welcome here. Now let me continue walking with you. I want to talk about love. Not romantic love, though that has its place, and I will honor it, but the broader, deeper, more enduring love that is the actual foundation of a life. The love that has made you who you are. Because you have been loved. Whether or not you always felt it or recognized it or received it well, you have been loved by the God who made you, from before your first breath to this very moment. And you have loved. You have poured yourself out in love for people and for the life you were building and for the God you were reaching toward. And that love has not been wasted. Not one drop of it. Every act of love you have ever performed, whether it was seen or unseen, whether it was received or rejected, whether it changed anything visibly or seemed to disappear without a trace, every act of love is held. Every act of love contributed to something real and permanent in the fabric of the world. By your continuing to trust in the quiet and ordinary days, by your willingness to receive love and give love and live in hope even when circumstances might argue for something less than hope, by all of that you are participating in something ancient and large and beautiful. You are part of a great, long human story of people who believed when it would have been easier not to, who trusted when trust was costly, who loved when love was hard, who kept the faith when keeping it required everything. Your faith in these years is not a small thing. It is a glorious thing. It is the kind of faith that heaven watches with something that I can only describe as joy. I want to pause here for a moment and speak to you about something that is close to my heart in creating this message for you. If what you have been hearing today has meant something to you, if somewhere in the last while you have felt something shift slightly, a small warmth, a small recognition, a small sense that maybe this message was, in some way, intended for you specifically, then I want to gently invite you to stay connected to this community. To the channel Holy Whisper America. Because these messages are not accidents. This channel exists because there are people like you, who need to hear these words. Who wake up in quiet houses, and have quiet days, and carry quiet worries, and sometimes feel very far from anything that reminds them of who they are, and whose they are. And every video on this channel is made with exactly those people in mind. With you in mind. So if you want to stay connected, if you want to make sure that the next time we release a message like this one, it finds you, then I want to invite you to subscribe to Holy Whisper America. Not because we need the numbers. Not because this is about anything as small as numbers. But because you deserve to have this kind of content waiting for you. You deserve to have a place on the internet that feels like it was made for you. Yes. It may be expressed more quietly, more gently, with less visible impact in the ways the world measures impact. But it is not less. The prayer you pray for your children and your grandchildren, the prayer that maybe nobody knows about, the prayer that happens quietly in the early morning or before sleep, that prayer has more influence on those children than most of what happens around them during the day. You are doing something, in those quiet prayers, that is real and powerful and that reaches places that no other thing in their lives can reach. You are the person who prays for them. In many families, you are the only person who prays for them with the faithfulness and the depth and the years of love behind the prayer that you bring to it. That is a purpose. That is a calling. That is something that matters more than can be measured. The wisdom you carry, the hard-won knowledge that comes from having lived as long as you have, having navigated what you have navigated, having survived what you have survived, that wisdom is not obsolete just because the world moves fast and young people sometimes seem more interested in the next new thing than in the slow deep knowing that comes from years. The world needs that wisdom whether it knows it wants it or not. And the right moments will come, the conversations, the questions, the grandchild who needs to hear something true from someone who has actually lived through hard things. Those moments will come. And when they do, you will be the only person in that child's life who can say what needs to be said in the way it needs to be said, because you are the one who lived it. You have a purpose. It is ongoing. It is active. It is needed. And beyond all of this, beyond the prayers and the wisdom and the legacy you are building in others, there is the simple, profound purpose of being a person who loves God in the last chapters of a human life. Of demonstrating by your faithfulness. That is enough to secure what no mountain could block. So if your faith feels thin right now, if the thread feels worn and frayed from the years of carrying it through hard weather, if you are not sure you have enough, I want you to hear this. You have enough. Whatever you have is enough. Whatever you are bringing to Him right now, in this moment, however much or however little, however confident or however confused, it is enough. He will receive it. He will receive you. He has already received you, if you will only let yourself be received. Let yourself be received. Now I want to talk to you about purpose. About the meaning of these years, because purpose is something that can get complicated in the later chapters of life. When work ends and the role that work gave you goes away, when children no longer need you in the daily, practical, hands-on way they once did, when the busyness that defined so many of your middle years thins out and leaves you with more time and sometimes with the unsettling question of what that time is for, purpose can feel less clear than it once did. And that can feel like loss. Because purpose is not just a nice idea. Purpose is oxygen. Human beings need to feel that they are here for something, that their presence makes a difference, that what they do and who they are matters to the ongoing project of the world. When purpose feels unclear, something in us dims a little. Something in us gets quiet in a way that is different from the good quietness of peace. It is the quietness of wondering. I want to speak directly to that wondering. Your purpose has not retired. Your purpose has not aged. Your purpose is not dependent on a title or a job or a role that the world assigned to you during the middle years. Your purpose is woven into who you are, into the specific combination of experience and love and knowledge and faith and history that makes you you, and it is as alive right now as it has ever been. It is expressed differently. A completeness of being known and loved that makes the best moments of this life, the most beautiful, the most full, the most alive, feel like pale hints and suggestions by comparison. It is reunion. It is the people you have loved and lost, present again, in a form that is more real and more themselves than they ever were able to be fully here. It is the resolution of every unanswered question, not in the sense of an explanation but in the sense of a fullness that makes the question no longer relevant because you are in the answer, you are inside the answer, you are standing in the middle of what the question was always reaching for. It is the face of Jesus. That is the promise. Not a vague spiritual state. Not a concept. A face. A person. The person who made you, who knew you before you were born, who watched over every day of your life, who was present in every joy and every grief and every prayer and every silence, who loved you with a love that never wavered and never ran out and never reached its limit. You will see that face. You will be received by that love in its fullness. And in that moment every fear will be gone, every regret will be resolved, every wound will be healed, every question will be answered, every longing will be filled. Every long year of faithful living and honest struggling and quiet trusting will be suddenly, completely, gloriously worth it. That is where you are going. Not as a vague possibility. As a certainty, for those who have said yes to the love that is being offered. And if you are watching this, if you have spent your life with even a thread of faith, even the thinnest and most trembling thread of belief that there is a God who loves you, then that thread is enough. He does not require a cable. He works with threads. He has always worked with threads. The faith of a mustard seed, he said. The smallest thing. The most fragile, most uncertain, most barely there thing. He said that is enough. That is enough to move mountains. The fear of death is a real fear, and it is not shameful to feel it. Even people of great faith feel it. Even people who have believed their whole lives, who have prayed their whole lives, who have served and loved and hoped and trusted their whole lives, even those people feel the fear when they look at it honestly. And that fear is not evidence of weak faith. It is evidence of being human. Of having a body that is designed to keep itself alive, that recalls from the thought of ceasing, that clings to the world it knows because the world it doesn't know, no matter what it believes about it, is still unknown, and the unknown is always where fear lies. Jesus knows that fear. He felt it. In the garden, on the night before everything, he felt it so intensely that the sweat that fell from him was like drops of blood. He asked if there is another way. He was afraid. He was a human being on the edge of the most terrifying thing a human being can face, and he was afraid. He did not float above it. He did not perform serene acceptance. He was genuinely, humanly afraid. And he went through it anyway. And on the other side of it was something that changed everything. Something that cracked the world open to a new possibility. Something that said, this is not the end. This is not the final word. The final word is life. The final word is morning. The final word is a love so complete and so strong that it walked into death and came back out and said, come. Come this way. I have been there. I have seen what is on the other side. And what is on the other side is not nothing. What is on the other side is home. I do not have words that are adequate for what home means in this context. No language is adequate. But there are things I can say. I can say that what waits for you on the other side of this life is not the cold and silent nothingness that fear imagines. It is not a long sleep of unknowing. It is not an absence. It is a presence. The fullest presence possible. And you lie there in the dark with the thoughts that come in the dark. He is there for that too. For the review of the day that the mind sometimes does, the replaying of things said and things not said, the worrying about tomorrow, the missing of people who are not there, the quiet prayer or the quiet questioning that comes before sleep. He is there for all of it. He is with you in the dark. He is holding the night around you the same way he holds the day, with the same completeness, the same love, the same unfailing presence. You never sleep outside of his watch. Not one night of your entire life have you slept outside of his care. Even the nights that felt like being alone in the dark of the universe, even the nights of grief and fear and not knowing how the next day would be faced, not one of those nights were you alone in the way that aloneness would have you believe. He was there. He is always there. The darkness is not dark to him. The silence is not silent to him. Every single night of your life he has kept watch over you, and he will keep watch over you tonight, and every night that follows, until the night comes that is not night at all but something else entirely, something so bright and so full and so beyond the reach of any language we have that we call it by the only word we have for it, which is morning, eternal morning, the sunrise that never ends. I want to speak now about something that I know is on many hearts. The question that lives in the background of these years, the one that doesn't always get spoken aloud but that is there, quietly, in the undertone of many thoughts, many prayers, many moments of lying awake at 3 in the morning. The question of what comes next. Of what lies on the other side of this life. Of what happens when the long journey of a human life comes to its earthly end. I want to speak to this gently. Very gently. Because it is a subject that carries both fear and hope, and I want to honor both of those things. That early blue-gray light before the sun is fully up, and you stand there, and you look at the yard or the street or whatever the window gives you, and you are just there, just present, just in the morning. God sees that moment. He is in that moment. The standing at the window with the coffee beginning to brew and the day beginning to form, that is not a nothing moment. That is a holy moment. The ordinary holiness of a human being alive in the world, present to the day, breathing, continuing, present. He is in that moment with a love and an attention that would astonish you if you could feel it fully. He is watching you with something that can only be described as delight. his child, alive in the morning, present to the day he has made. It is enough. You do not have to do anything else. Just the standing there is enough. The coffee is ready. You pour it the way you always pour it, the ritual of it, the exact way you've been doing it for decades. Maybe you take it to your chair, your particular chair, the one that is yours in the way that things become yours after long familiarity. And you sit. And maybe you look out another window, or maybe you turn on the news, or maybe you sit in the quiet. And the day begins. All through that day, he is there. Through the ordinary tasks, the small decisions, the brief interactions, the moments of beauty that arrive uninvited and unexpected, a particular quality of light through the curtains, the sound of something outside, the smell of something that takes you briefly somewhere else in your memory. Through the moments of discomfort, the physical ache, the loneliness if it comes, the moments when the day feels very long and very quiet. Through it all, he is there. Not managing from a distance. Fully there. Fully present. Accompanying you through the ordinary sacrament of your ordinary day. And at the end of that day, when you are back in your bed and the house is quiet and the day is closing. And I want you to know, before we go any further, that you do not have to be in a good spiritual state to receive what he is offering right now. You do not have to have your faith in order, your doubts resolved, your record clean. You do not have to be feeling especially religious or especially close or especially worthy. None of those conditions apply. He is not waiting for you to reach a certain level before he will be close to you. He is already close. He has always been close. The question is never whether he is near you. The question is only whether you are aware of him. And right now, in this video, in this moment, I am hoping that something is happening in your awareness. A little opening. A little softening. A little sense of presence that you maybe haven't felt so clearly for a while. That is him. That is the movement of his love toward you. You don't have to do anything to earn it or produce it. You just have to receive it. You just have to let it be true that you are loved. Now I want to walk with you through a day. Your kind of day. The kind that probably doesn't feel like a spiritual day, the kind that probably feels like just a regular Tuesday or Thursday with nothing remarkable happening. I want to walk through it with you and show you what God sees when he looks at that day, because I think the difference between what you see and what he sees might surprise you. You wake up. It takes a moment, the way it does now, a moment to come fully into the day, a moment where the body catches up with the mind and everything sort of settles into place. Maybe there's some stiffness. Maybe the first movement of the morning is careful, deliberate, not the jump out of bed of younger years but the careful, intentional beginning that these years require. You get up. You make your way to the kitchen. You start the coffee. And while the coffee brews, maybe you stand at the window and look out. Maybe it's still dark outside, or just beginning to get light. He is the one who climbed the hill and looked out over the crowd of ordinary, tired, hungry people and felt something that the Bible calls compassion, which in the original language means something much more physical than we usually think. It means something that moved in his gut, moved in his chest, something visceral and real and not at all distant or detached or philosophical. He looked at the ordinary, tired, hungry people and something in him went out to them with a love that was not abstract. He is the one who wept. Actually wept. Stood at a tomb and wept. Not because he didn't know what was about to happen. He knew. He knew what was about to happen more certainly than anyone standing there. He wept because grief was real and present, and his friend was gone, and the people around him were in pain, and he did not stand above that pain and survey it from a distance. He entered into it. He let it be real. He let it move him to tears. That is who is with you right now. Not a distant God watching from above. Not a severe judge tallying up your failures. Not a disappointed parent shaking his head at the ways you fell short. The one who sat with ordinary people and ate ordinary food and listened to ordinary stories and never once made anyone feel too small or too broken or too lost to be received. The one who, when people came to him no matter how damaged or how far they had wandered or how long it had been, never turned them away. Never. Not once. He always received them. He always had room. He always had time. He always had love enough. That love has not changed. What he was then, he is now. What he offered then, he offers now. The same receiving. The same room. The same time. The same love. Not a pale version of it, not a memory of it, not a theological echo of it. The same. Full and present and available and directed at you, specifically and personally and in this very moment. Aching, purposeful no. Every prayer has been heard. Every prayer has been held. And the God who heard them is the same God sitting beside you right now, and he is not keeping score of what you asked for and what you received. He is just here. Loving you. Present with you. Available to you. Right now, in this moment, for whatever you want to bring to him. The old prayers. The new ones. The wordless ones. The ones you are almost afraid to pray because you've been disappointed before and hoping again feels dangerous. Bring them. All of them. He can hold every single one. I want to speak to you now about Jesus. Not in a theological way, not in a doctrinal way, but in the way of a story. In the way that I think touches the heart more truly than any argument or explanation. I want to tell you who Jesus is in the way that I believe he would want to be known, which is simply and truly and warmly. He is the one who noticed the people that everyone else walked past. He noticed the woman who had been sick for 12 years and had spent everything she had trying to get better and was desperate enough to push through a crowd just to touch the edge of his clothing. Everyone else in that crowd was pressing toward him for their own reasons. She was invisible in the crowd, or she thought she was. But he felt her. He stopped. He turned. He looked for her. He found her. He said, "Daughter. Daughter." Not subject, not supplicant, not case number, not problem to be addressed. Daughter. As if she were family. As if she mattered to him personally. As if out of all the pressing, urgent crowd, she was the one he had been looking for. But here is what I want to say about that silence. About the prayers that seemed to go unheard. The prayers did not go unheard. Not one of them. Not a single one. Every prayer you have ever prayed, from the clumsy childhood prayers of your early faith to the desperate prayers of your hardest years to the quite habitual prayers of your daily life to the raw honest prayers of your grief, every single one of them has been received. Every single one has been held. Every single one has been answered, though not always in the way you asked, not always in the form you recognized, not always in the timing you needed. There are prayers you prayed 30 years ago whose answers you are living in right now and don't even recognize as answers because they came so slowly and so differently than you expected. There are prayers you prayed in desperation that were answered not by the removal of the hard thing but by the giving of strength to walk through the hard thing, and that strength, that inexplicable ability to keep going when keeping going should not have been possible, that was the answer. There are prayers you prayed for your children that are still being answered, still working their way through the long slow miracle of a human life, still unfolding in ways you cannot yet see. Not unanswered. Unfinished. Still in motion. God is still working on what you asked for. The story is not over. And then there are the prayers you prayed for things that God, in His seeing, knew were not the things that would ultimately be best for you or for the people you were praying for. And He said no. Or He said not this. Or He said something better. And those numbers were not abandonment. They were not indifference. They were love in a form that hurt. The love of a parent who will not give a child everything the child asks for because love knows more than want, because love can see further than desire, because love is sometimes expressed most profoundly not in the yes but in the careful. Even no are from you yet, things that will surface in them 10 or 20 years from now and puzzle them with their familiarity, these echoes of someone they loved when they were small. You are not disappearing. You are dispersing. Like seeds. Like light. Like the scent of something wonderful that lingers long after its source has moved on. You are in people. You are in the world in ways you cannot fully see or count. Your life has touched the earth in ways that are not visible on any ledger but that are real and permanent and will continue to ripple outward long after you have gone home to the one who made you. Let me speak to you now about prayer. About the prayers you have said, and the prayers you say now, and the prayers you have wondered about, the ones you sent up and never got the answer you were hoping for. Because this is real. This is something that sits in the hearts of people who have prayed for a long time, who have prayed faithfully and earnestly and with real belief and real need, and who have sometimes, more than sometimes, not gotten what they prayed for. The healing that didn't come. The relationship that didn't mend. The trouble that didn't resolve. The child who still hasn't found their way. The answer that has not yet arrived even after years of asking. I will not pretend that is simple. I will not give you a tidy explanation that makes the unanswered prayers feel resolved, because they don't feel resolved, and any answer that makes them feel too tidy is probably not quite honest. The mystery of prayer, of why some prayers seem answered immediately and others seem to go unanswered for years or for a lifetime, is a real mystery. And you are allowed to hold that mystery honestly. You are allowed to say, I don't understand this, and I have not always received what I asked for, and sometimes that has been hard and sometimes it has felt like silence. Your importance is not defined by how central you are to the lives of others right now. These are beautiful things when they are present, and their absence is a real ache, but they are not the measure of you. They are not the gauge of your significance. They are not the verdict on your life. The verdict on your life has already been given. And the verdict is love. You know, there are old photographs in most of your homes. I know there are. Pictures in frames on the mantel or the walls or in albums on a shelf somewhere. Pictures of you when you were young, astonishingly young, young in a way that probably surprises you now when you look at them, because you don't remember feeling that young. You were so serious about everything back then, so full of the weight of your life, but looking at those pictures now you can see what you couldn't see then, which is how beautiful and open and full of potential that young person was. There are pictures of people who are not here anymore, people you loved, people whose absence is still felt in you like a space where something warm used to be. There are pictures of the people who are still here, at different ages, in different seasons, the through line of your family's story told in images. Those photographs are not just memories. They are evidence. Evidence of a life that was real and full of love even when it was full of difficulty. Evidence that you were here, that you mattered, that you were woven into the stories of other people in ways that changed them, that formed them, that are still present in them whether they say it or not. Every person who has ever loved you carries some piece of you in them. Your children carry your laughter, and your stubbornness, and your way of making coffee, and the songs you sang in the kitchen, and the things you said when they were small that they have never forgotten even if they can't always remember where they first heard them. Your grandchildren carry things from you that they don't. You are loved. Completely. Right now. As you are. I want to talk to you about your family. About the ones who are far, the ones who are busy, the ones who are living their own complicated lives in ways that sometimes leave less room for you than you wish. I want to talk about the grandchildren who are growing up in a world that is so different from the one you grew up in that sometimes it feels like you are looking at them through glass, so proud of them, so fascinated by them, so full of love for them, but also sometimes uncertain of how to reach them, how to cross the distance between your world and theirs, how to show them something they can receive in the language of their generation. I want to talk about the adult children, your sons and daughters, who carry their own weights now, who are in the thick of their own middle years, managing their careers and their marriages and their children and their finances and their fears. Who love you, who do love you, but who are sometimes so submerged in their own rivers that they cannot always see the bank where you are standing. And you understand it. You do understand it. You were in the river too once. You know how consuming it is. But understanding it doesn't always make the quiet evenings easier or the long days shorter or the feeling of distance less present. God sees that distance. He sees it and He grieves it in a way, because He made humans for closeness, for community, for the warmth of being known and kept by others, and when that warmth is harder to come by, it is a real loss. He does not tell you not to feel it. He does not dismiss it or minimize it. The longing for your family is a beautiful longing because it comes from love, and love is from Him, and He honors it. But He also wants you to know this: your value is not measured by how often your children call. Your worth is not determined by how present your grandchildren are. It is just the ache of being human, of having made choices in a complicated world with incomplete information and a limited heart and all the wounds and confusions and fears that every human carries. You were doing your best with what you had. Even when your best was not good enough. Even when your best still hurt people. You were a human being moving through a human life, and human lives are not clean and perfect, and you did not get to stand outside your own circumstances and make choices from a place of perfect wisdom and perfect love. You were inside it, as all humans are, doing what humans do, which is sometimes wonderful and sometimes terrible and mostly somewhere in between. And there is a love that knows all of that. That has always known all of that. That knew it before you made any of those choices and chose to love you anyway. That knows it now, in the full clear light of everything you have ever done and everything you have ever been, and still, without hesitation, without conditions, without a moment of reluctance, chooses you, loves you, keeps you, claims you. That is not a comfortable love. It is too big to be comfortable. It is the kind of love that changes things, that rearranges the furniture of the soul, that makes the regret still ache but takes away its power to define you. You are not your regrets. You are not your failures. You are not the worst thing you have ever done or the worst season you have ever lived through. You are a beloved child of the God who made everything, and that identity is not earned and cannot be lost and does not depend on your performance or your history or your feelings about yourself on any given day. Comfort. As a presence. Real, warm, attending to you with an attention that never wavers, never tires, never checks its phone or gets distracted or remembers something else it has to do. The God who made the universe is giving you, right now, in this moment, His full and complete and undivided attention. As if you are the only one. As if you are the entire world to Him. Because you are. That is the mystery of divine love. It is not divided by being given to many. It is complete for each one. He gives you all of Himself. Not a portion. Not what's left after the others are taken care of. All. Completely. Right now. His full attention. His full love. His full presence. For you. Now let me speak to you about regret. Because regret is something that visits many people in these years. The long quiet of the later years gives the mind space to wander back, and sometimes where it wanders is to the places where things went wrong, the decisions that felt right at the time and turned out to be costly, the relationships that broke and never fully healed, the things you should have said and didn't, the things you said that you wish you could take back, the years you spent in directions that pulled you away from what really mattered. The moments when you failed the people who needed you. The seasons when your faith was thin and your choices were not the ones you are proud of. Regret. I want to say something very carefully here because it is important and because it is something that many people in the years of honest reflection have misunderstood. Regret is not the same as condemnation. Feeling the weight of the past is not the same as being punished by it. Looking at the things that went wrong and feeling the ache of them is not proof that you are unforgiven. It is not proof that God is holding those things over you. It is not a debt that is still unpaid or a verdict that is still outstanding. He had a body. He knows what it feels like for a body to hurt. He knows what it feels like for the physical to be painful and limited and frightening. He did not come to earth in some shining supernatural form that floated above all the difficulties of having flesh and bone and blood. He came the same way you came. Fragile and dependent and small and breathing. And he lived in that body for 33 years. And his body knew hunger and exhaustion and the cold of Palestinian winters and the heat of desert sun and the specific ache of long days of walking and the particular exhaustion of pouring yourself out for people who don't always understand you. And at the end, his body knew pain in a way that is almost impossible to imagine. He did not hover above that pain. He was in it completely. And he came out the other side. And because he came out the other side, he is not only the God who loves you from a comfortable distance. He is the God who walked the same road. He is the God who has been inside the limitations and the pain and the fear of having a body that suffers. And because he walked that road, he knows how to walk it with you. He knows exactly what you need when the body is hard and the days are slow and the nights are long. He knows. And he is not absent from those days. He is the most present in those days. He draws close to the suffering in a way that cannot be fully explained, but that those who have suffered and kept faith will tell you is real. In the hardest moments, he is the nearest. You are not suffering alone. Even on the days when it feels most like aloneness, even on the days when the pain is bad and the loneliness is real and the fear is loud and nobody calls and the house is quiet as a held breath, you are not alone. He is in the room with you. Not as a concept. Not as a theological. The kind that is not shocked by the fear or disappointed by the fear or tired of the fear. The kind that says, I know. I know exactly what you are afraid of. I know every detail of it. I know the particular shape of your fear in the dark, the specific weight of it at 3 in the morning, the exact way it comes and the exact way it sits and the exact things it says to you when you are tired and low and alone. And I am not afraid of your fear. I am bigger than your fear. Not bigger in the sense of being distant from it, above it, removed from it. Bigger in the sense of encompassing it, surrounding it, holding it from every side so that even when the fear is present it is inside something larger. The way a small cold room is inside a larger warm house. The fear is real. The cold room is real. But the house is warmer and bigger and ultimately the room is held inside the house, not the other way around. Your fear is held inside love. Always. Even when the fear is all you can feel, it is inside love. And love is the last word. Love is always the last word. Let me talk to you about your body for a moment, if you will let me. About the way your body has changed and the way that feels. Because for many of you watching this, the body is a daily reality in ways it wasn't 20 or 30 years ago. Maybe there is pain. The kind of pain that lives in your joints or your back or somewhere deep that you can't quite identify, the kind that wakes you at night or makes mornings slow. Maybe there is limitation. The things you used to do easily that take more effort now, or that you cannot do at all anymore. Maybe there is fear about what your body is or might become. And there can be grief in that, real grief, the grief of the body you used to have, the body that was strong and fast and capable in ways that feel very far away now. Jesus knows about that. Richer than it was in the busy years, not because he has changed but because you have more room to receive him now. More stillness. More openness. More of the kind of quiet that lets the deepest things come through. So the silence is not your enemy. The silence is where he lives. The silence is where he waits for you. The silence is where, if you are willing to sit still and trust, you will find something that all the noise of the younger years could never give you. You will find a closeness with the divine that is only possible on the other side of a full and busy life, in the deep water of these years, where the surface disturbances are fewer and the depths are more reachable. Now I want to talk about fear. Because I know you have some. And I am not going to pretend it away or tell you that you shouldn't feel it, because that would not be honest and it would not help you. Fear is real. The fears that come with these years of life are real. The fear of what is coming. The fear of what is already here. The fear of loss, of more loss, of the particular kind of loss that comes when you have already lost people and you know from experience now that more losses are ahead. The fear of your own body, of the ways it is changing and the ways it sometimes frightens you when it doesn't work the way it used to. The fear of being a burden. The fear of being alone at the very end. The fear of dying without peace. The fear of dying having never fully resolved the things that needed resolving, the relationships that were broken, the words that were never said, the forgiveness that was never asked for or given. I want to sit with those fears for a moment. Not to amplify them. Not to make them bigger. But to be honest about them because the only way through fear is through it, not around it, and the only thing that truly dissolves fear at its deepest root is love. The right kind of love. The kind that knows the fear completely and chooses you anyway. The same hands that set the stars in their places and breathed life into the dust of the earth are the hands that are holding the silence around you right now, making it a container not for emptiness but for something holy. And sometimes, if you are very still, if you put down the television and the noise and the distraction for just a few minutes and sit in that silence without running from it, you can feel it. You can feel the something that is there. It comes as a warmth, sometimes. Or as a kind of peace that doesn't make sense given everything that is hard in your life but that is there anyway, undeniably there, real as the chair beneath you. Or it comes as a memory, a good one, a specific moment from your life that rises up soft and clear and you think, why am I thinking of this? And the answer is because he is reminding you. Because he wants you to know that every good thing you have ever experienced, every beautiful moment, every laugh, every joy, every morning that took your breath away, all of it came from the same source. All of it was a gift from the same giver. And that giver has not stopped giving. Even now. Especially now. The silence in your house is not a punishment. It is an invitation. An invitation to listen in a new way. An invitation to receive in a new way. When life is full and loud and busy and demanding, when there are children underfoot and work to be done and schedules to keep and places to be, there is a kind of receiving that isn't possible. A kind of hearing that can't happen. The noise is too thick. The movement is too constant. But in these quieter years, in the years that might feel like subtraction but are actually something else, something harder to name but more valuable, in these years, there is a spaciousness that was not there before. And in that spaciousness, God can speak in ways he couldn't before. You can hear in ways you couldn't before. The relationship between you and him can deepen and broaden and become something. Your faithful getting up and making your coffee and sitting by your window and living your life with whatever portion of peace and purpose you can find, that is not nothing. That is not a small life. That is a life that is seen and known and loved and held in the hands of someone who does not measure by the world's measurements, who does not weigh by the world's scales, who does not rank by the world's rankings. He measures by faithfulness. He weighs by love. He ranks by the hidden things. And by those measurements, by that weight, by that ranking, you are not at the edge of the story. You are at the center of it. Let me tell you about the silence in your house. I want to speak to it directly, because I know it is something you feel, something that is real and present and sometimes heavy. The silence that comes after children leave, after a partner goes, after retirement ends the rhythm that work gave to your days, after the full and busy middle years of life give way to these quieter years, that silence is real. It has weight to it. It has texture. It is not nothing. And it is okay to feel it. It is okay to sit with it and not rush to fill it and not pretend it isn't there. But I want to tell you something about that silence. It is not empty. It only looks empty from the outside, from the surface of things. But that silence is full, absolutely full, of something you may not always be able to feel, but that is there with a completeness and a depth that would take your breath away if you could see it the way God sees it. That silence is full of love. That silence is full of presence. That silence is the sound of a universe held in place by something that has chosen, every single moment, to keep you in it. Every quiet morning, every still afternoon, every long evening, you are not abandoned in that silence. You are held in it. You are kept in it. Not because she was perfect. Not because she never doubted. Not because she had great theological understanding or could quote scripture from memory or never missed a Sunday. He thought she was magnificent because she kept coming back. Because in the silence and the grief and the smallness and the ordinary faithful difficulty of her days, she kept turning toward him. Even when she didn't feel him. Even when the silence felt like absence. Even on the mornings when the house felt too quiet and the day stretched out long and she sat with her coffee and her window and her birds and felt the tears come without quite knowing why. Even then, she was turning towards something. Reaching towards something. Trusting something she couldn't always see or feel but couldn't quite stop believing in either. That is faith. Not the kind that comes easy. Not the kind that lives only on mountain tops and in moments of miraculous clarity. The kind that lives in the valley. The kind that keeps walking even when the path is flat and gray and the destination isn't visible. The kind that keeps the light on in the window even when nobody seems to be coming. That woman's faith was one of the most beautiful things in all of creation. God saw it. Jesus saw it. Every ordinary, invisible, faithful morning of her life was seen and known and held and loved. And if her story sounds familiar to you, if the shape of her days resembles the shape of yours in any way, then I need you to hear this clearly. What is true of her is true of you. Your ordinary days are not ordinary to him. Your quiet mornings are not small to him. The kind where you just talk, just say what's true, just bring whatever you're carrying and put it down and trust that someone is there to receive it. And then her children grew up, as children do. And they moved away, as young people do. And the house got quieter, as houses do. And her husband, the man she had walked beside for 40 years, the man she had argued with and laughed with and been frustrated by and loved so deeply that the love had grown into something bigger than feelings, something more like bone and breath, and the very shape of who she was, her husband got sick. And then her husband died. And she was alone in that house. She kept praying. Even then. Even in the dark of those first terrible months, when grief is not poetic but raw and physical and relentless. She kept talking to God even when she was angry at him, even when the prayers came out not as soft words but as questions with edges on them, as demands, as the kind of desperate honest communication that is actually more prayer than the polished kind. She kept going. She kept getting up in the mornings. She kept making her coffee. She kept sitting by her window. She kept watching the birds. She kept living, not grandly, not dramatically, but faithfully. She kept showing up for her own life even when her life felt very small, and very quiet and very far from the center of anything. Do you know what God thought about that woman? He thought she was magnificent. You are not invisible. You are not fading. You are not becoming less. You are not at the end of your meaning. And the silence in your house, as heavy as it sometimes feels, is not evidence of your smallness. It is not proof that you are forgotten. It is not a sentence. It is a space. And in that space, right now, something holy is happening. Right now, in the quiet of wherever you are, in the ordinary afternoon or morning or night of your real, honest, lived-in life, the Creator of everything that exists is leaning close to you and speaking, not with thunder, not with a voice you can hear with your ears, but with something older and softer than sound. He is speaking to the part of you that knows. The part of you that has always known, even when you doubted, even when you walked away for a while, even when you were too busy or too hurt or too confused to listen. That part of you knows this voice. It has always known it. And it is saying, I am here. I have always been here. And I am not going anywhere. Now I want to tell you about a woman. I am going to tell you about her because her story might be your story, or it might be close enough to your story that you will recognize yourself in it. She is not famous. Nobody has written a book about her. Her name is not in any history. But God knows her name. God has always known her name. She raised her family in a small house in a town that most people have never heard of. She worked hard, the way Americans work, the real honest kind of working where you get up before the sun and you do what needs to be done, and you don't complain much because complaining doesn't fill the refrigerator or keep the lights on. She raised children who were good people, genuinely good people, and she was proud of them in that deep, quiet, aching way that parents are proud when the thing they built with their whole lives turns out to be something beautiful. She prayed every night. Not fancy prayers. Just honest ones. It is not a command or a correction or a reminder of everything you should have done differently. It is a love letter. Written for you. By name. Addressed to the exact place where you are sitting right now. You have lived a life. A real one. Not a perfect one, not a movie one, not the kind of life where everything worked out exactly right and all the relationships stayed whole and all the prayers got answered exactly the way you asked and all the seasons were warm and full. No. You have lived a real American life, the kind that has cold winters and hard years and seasons where you wonder if spring is ever going to come again. The kind that has rooms in it that are quieter now than they used to be. The kind that has chairs at the kitchen table that nobody sits in anymore. The kind that has phone calls you wait for that sometimes don't come. The kind that has birthdays and holidays where you smile and mean the smile but somewhere underneath it you feel the weight of all the years, all the changes, all the things that used to be and aren't anymore. And I want to say something about that. About the silence. About the empty chair. About the holiday that felt just a little too quiet. About the grandchildren who are growing up so fast you sometimes feel like a stranger to their world. About the children who are busy, genuinely busy, with lives that are full and demanding, but whose busyness sometimes means that days go by without a call and you tell yourself it's fine, you tell yourself they're young and that's how it is, but in the deep quiet of an honest night you wonder if you are becoming invisible, if you are slowly fading from the center of the story into the edges of it. And today, he wants to answer. Let me take you somewhere. Let me take you back to a morning, an ordinary morning, not so very different from this one. The kind of morning that comes slow and soft, the way mornings do when you have been alive long enough to stop rushing through them. The sun is coming in through the window at a low angle, the way it does in the early hours, and the light is pale and golden and it falls across the floor and across the furniture and across your hands, and you look at your hands for a moment and you think about all the things those hands have done. All the meals they've prepared. All the children they've held. All the work they've done, honest work, good work, work you were proud of. All the times they've folded together in prayer. All the times they've wiped away tears. Your own tears. Someone else's tears. The tears of people you loved so much it hurt. And sitting there in that morning light, looking at your hands, you feel it. That thing that has no name but that you know so well. That feeling of time. Of the way time moves differently now than it used to. When you were young, time was something you pushed through, something you were always running ahead of, something that moved too slow when you were waiting for something good and too fast when something good was happening. But now time feels different. Now it feels like something you're watching. Like you're standing on a riverbank and watching the water go by, and the water is beautiful and the water is moving and you love the river, but you also know that you are not in the river the way you once were. And that feeling, that quiet, aching, beautiful, sometimes frightening feeling of standing on the bank and watching the river, that is the feeling I want to talk to you about today. Because God has something to say about that feeling. Jesus has something to say about that feeling. And what he wants to say is not what you might expect. It is not a warning. It is not a lesson. The you that has lived a long life and seen hard things and loved deeply and lost some of that love along the way and kept going anyway because what else do you do? He is here for that person. He is here for you. Now let me tell you something that may feel strange to hear. Something that may make you sit up a little straighter or press your hand to your chest or let out a breath you didn't even know you'd been holding. What I am about to tell you is not something I read in a book. It is not something I heard in a sermon. It is something older than sermons, older than churches, older than every word that has ever been written or spoken about faith. It is something that lives in the deepest part of what you are, in that place inside you that never changes no matter how old you get or how much the world around you shifts and moves and leaves you behind. God has not forgotten you. Not for one single day. Not for one single hour. Not for one single moment of silence in your house or loneliness in your heart or night when you lay in the dark and felt like maybe you were the only person in the entire world who was still awake and still afraid and still holding on. He was there in every one of those moments. He was there and he was close and he heard every word you said and every word you couldn't say and every prayer that came out not as words at all but just as a feeling, just as a longing, just as a cry from somewhere deep and honest inside you. He heard it all. He kept it all. Don't go anywhere. Whatever you were about to do, whatever distraction is pulling at the edge of your attention, let it wait. Because what I have to say to you today is not general. It is not a message for everyone. It is a message for you. Specifically for you. For the person sitting exactly where you are sitting right now, in your home, in your chair, maybe with a blanket across your lap, maybe with a cup of something warm in your hand, maybe with tired eyes and a heart that has been looking, quietly and faithfully, for something it couldn't quite find. I want you to imagine something. I want you to imagine that there is someone sitting right beside you, right now, someone you cannot see with your eyes but someone whose presence you can feel if you are still enough, quiet enough, open enough. Someone who knew your name before your parents ever chose it. Someone who counted the hairs on your head when you were born and who has kept counting them through every season of your life, through the years when they were thick and dark and full and through the years when they began to thin and silver and turn soft and gentle as snow. Someone who was there in the room when you took your first breath and who has been with you in every single room you have ever walked into since that day. That someone is sitting with you right now. And he has been waiting a long time to say what he is about to say to you. So breathe. Just breathe. Let your shoulders down. Let the tension go just a little. You don't have to perform anything right now. You don't have to have the right words or the right faith or the right amount of belief. You just have to be here. Just be exactly who you are, with everything you are carrying, with every doubt and every fear and every quiet hope you've been holding on to. Come just as you are. Because he is not waiting for a better version of you. He is here for you. The real you. The tired you. The wondering you. Stop. Please. Just stop for one moment. I know you were about to keep scrolling. I know your thumb was already moving to the next thing. But something made you pause. Something quiet, something you can't quite name, made you stop right here, right now, on this video, on this moment. And I want you to know that wasn't an accident. That wasn't random. That was not just your thumb getting tired. That was something much deeper than that. That was a pull. A gentle, invisible pull from a love that has been watching you, waiting for you, for a very long time. Because you have been carrying something. Haven't you? You've been carrying it for weeks now, maybe months, maybe longer than you even want to admit. It sits with you in the morning when the house is quiet and the coffee is warm and there is no sound except the hum of the refrigerator and maybe the birds outside. It sits with you in the evenings when the sun goes down and the light in the living room gets soft and golden and the television is on but you are not really watching it. It sits with you at night, in that space between being awake and being asleep. When all the noise of the day is gone and there is nothing left but you and your thoughts and the dark ceiling above you. And in that quiet place, in that honest place that nobody else ever sees, you have wondered things. You have wondered if any of this still means something. You have wondered if God still hears you. You have wondered if the prayers you've been saying, the ones you whisper at night or in the car or sometimes just in your heart without any words at all, you have wondered if any of them have reached anywhere. You have wondered if you are seen. If you are remembered. If the life you have lived and the faith you have carried and the love you have given and the tears you have cried in private, you have wondered if all of that matters to anyone. It matters. You matter. And that is why, right now, in this moment, I need you to stay with me.